Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Two Bear Arms broadcast. Today is trigger time, and I'm Kurt.
And I'm Deuce.
Hey, good to see everybody. We're a little fired up, a little off cue tonight. It's a lot of fun to start the night.
No, I think we're doing good.
Our starting intro before the camera rolled was a lot of fun to get.
It was
fired up. So, as you folks know, those that have listened before, but for new listeners, which we hope we get at least one or 50 or 100 new listeners a week. This is Trigger Time, where we talk about current industry news related to firearms. We do 3 different segments in rotation with our broadcast channel. Next week we talk, does it go to Unloaded?
Be on the trail.
Oh, on the trail.
On the trail will be next week.
We'll talk all about cowboy action shooting, SAS, next week, and topics related to that. Then after that, the week after that, we talk about anything we want.
Unloaded.
And that'll be a good one. So by then I'll be back from my trip too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and we'll talk all about that, hopefully with some success.
Yeah, we don't want to ruin that because there could be some good material there.
It could be.
Could be.
Yeah. Or I could get 8. So we'll see.
You could.
I could. And you'll be having to find a new partner.
Oh.
Okay. Anyway.
I haven't broke my first one in yet.
That's true. That's true. Hey, a lot of exciting stuff to bring you tonight. First topic I want to talk about is Springfield Armory and their exciting launch of their new 10mm pistol. As Deuce knows, I'm a big fan of 10mm, and actually next week on my trip, I'll be carrying a 10mm. Actually a Springfield 10mm, not this particular model, one of the older models, but Springfield came out and kind of surprised the market a little bit with it. By the time we had heard about it, it was just a matter of a couple of weeks later, and then it was out on the market, and we actually got our first couple batches of them in. And luckily tonight when I came in, there was still one left to show.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about it. It's built on the XD platform, and this is actually one of the XD-M series guns. And for those that don't know the difference between the XD series and the XD-M series, the M just stands for match. And what they do with the match pistols is one of the armors at the end of production actually fits all the pieces a little bit tighter, a little bit more in sync between the barrel, the slide, and the trigger setup. So it gets a little fine tuning there at the end from their professional armors. Also, the new model in the 10mm has the new upgraded flat face trigger. Still has the trigger safety in it, but they've added it as a flat face. It seems to be the new popular trend that we're seeing from SIG in the 365 series. Smith & Wesson's come out with several of them in the flat trigger here lately. CZ, I think, has got some flat trigger options. So it's kind of trending that direction. But this was a very nice offering from Springfield to move this over, and I believe this is the first in their XD or XDM series that they put the flat face trigger in. And so kind of excited to see that in there. Gives you a much better trigger control, and reset seems to be, or emulates a smoother reset to it because everything's on a level platform there. Front serrations on the firearm, your standard rear serrations, but as you notice, one of the bigger, if you're watching, it has a optic on it. They come in a couple different models. They come optic ready, which are just plated on top, and then they come with the optic in the upgraded model. And it's a hex optic, which is unique to see. A lot of companies have chose to go to either the Smith or the Vortex, and Springfield teamed up with the hex Dragonfly. Really like this optic. It's a very robust optic, 3 MOA red dot on the interior, and then the exterior shell of it is a much, much harder material than what some of the other manufacturers are putting it out, and it fits the platform really well and keeps the profile as low as possible. They went ahead and installed the fiber optic front sights that they've become known for, and the U-shape rear sight, and then put the U line around it to increase eye pickup on it. As far as the magazines and such, they send them standard with 10-round magazines. I believe all models come with 2 magazines. There is also an extended magazine available for this firearm, and it is a 15-round magazine. Now with 15-round magazine, it's going to extend. You can take this magazine well off the firearm, so then you've got a full grip purchase on the firearm, because right now this is more of a concealed carry package. It's in a 3.8-inch barrel, so it's a very, very short barrel size for 10 millimeter. I don't know anybody that's offered it in this sort of format for 10 millimeter. I believe Dan Wesson, CZ, offers a 10 millimeter in a 1911 with that. I think Rock Island's Armory offers one in a 4 and a 5, but 3.8 on this in their shorter grip frame. So then that way it is considered a concealed carry pistol in a 10 millimeter. So anybody that wants a nice hard hitting round that'll stop any living, breathing thing on the planet, 10 millimeter works for that.
Well, and with the short barrel, the nice thing about the 10 millimeter is if you don't hit it, you will set it on fire.
Absolutely.
So
the amount of flame and noise that come out of the 10 millimeter is
Yep.
pretty fantastic. That's one reason I like the 10 millimeter so much,
Yep.
and I trust it when I go out west and that type
Sure.
of thing. I like to have something that I know that I'm pretty fair in a fight, no matter what it is. So
well, and I know the 10 millimeter has Glocks and whatnot have gained in popularity as far as guides carrying them out west. I know.
Yep.
I've heard a lot of guys talk about their guides for carrying a Glock.
Yep.
In 10 millimeter. So I think they like the increased capacity and the stopping power, obviously.
Sure.
And do you think they went with a more robust optic on there because of the chambering?
Oh, I think that absolutely had to be a consideration for it. Any lesser optic, you're running into vibration issues that can throw the dot off, or that can just make the electronics quit working altogether. So
Sure.
I was really excited to see the Dragonfly go on that. That's a very, very high quality optic for it to come standard with the kit.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, you can always step up the platform if you get just the optics ready one. I'm sure somebody by now is making a plate that if you wanted to go to one of the Trijicons or something and go to the top of the food chain, you can, but the Trijicons are going to run you a little more than the gun cost you.
Right.
So it just depends on what your budget is to do that.
Yep.
Some of the other features that they include in the firearm, ambidextrous magazine releases, which all the XD series do have the ambidextrous magazine releases, but they've also added a ambidextrous slide release to it now, and still has the standard trigger or the backstrap safety that you've become accustomed to, and then replaceable rear panel here for grip acquisition as far as pushing back into the palm of the hand. So you can go, I believe it comes with two. I think it comes with a small and a large rear platform change that's available for it.
And I might be wrong, but does the memory pad on that grip safety seem a little bit more pronounced?
Yeah, they've gone ahead and put the bump out on it there, so you're getting a tight grip into the gun, and then that's depressing for you. And you're seeing that on some of the nicer 1911s, actually, is where the technology was borrowed from, and makes it fantastic. You also have your strike indicator on the rear of the gun. Also, it's a load indicator to the rear of the gun. And that's one thing I've always liked about Springfield when I carried them on the police department. I could reach down to the holster and just touch that with my thumb, and I knew that the gun was cocked and ready, basically.
Right.
So very, very good platform. Comes standard, all their models, and something Springfield's been offering with a lot of their handguns. A nice little nylon case that comes with it. Nothing extremely fancy, but it's a lot better than just the cardboard box.
Or in some cases, even for me, better than a hard plastic. I prefer a soft-sided case for usability and stowability. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's a pretty cool compact package that you can throw under the seat or in the console, and away you go.
Or even just fill it up with magazines if you're going to carry the gun in a holster. You can fill that up with magazines and, like he's saying, slide it under the seat or in the glove box, and then you've got that available. And, that's a good point. A lot of times hard cases, we stack them up in the basement until we get tired of moving them from place to place.
Right.
But I know, like, when you and I travel for competition shooting and things, almost everything we take's in soft cases, in one configuration or another. So that's pretty good.
I have several boxes of boxes.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
The other day, I even found in the basement when I was looking for something totally unrelated to firearms, but I was looking for something in the back closet of our basement, and I looked up there, and I'm like, crap, there's 2 rifle boxes up there, cardboard boxes, and 2 rifle cardboard boxes up there, and I'm like, geez, why? How long have they been up there? So I still own the guns, but they've done nothing.
Yeah, and you've spent you're kind of an HK guy now.
Yes,
but you've spent a lot of time with Springfield.
I did.
Firearms, the XD series in particular.
Yep.
You carried the XDS.
Yep.
I know I've seen you carry those before. You were a huge fan of their 45s.
Yes.
At one point in time, I saw you carry a 45 a lot.
Yep.
And like you said, you carried one on duty as well.
Yeah. I carried it on the police department for a very long time. I've had very, very good results out of Springfield Armory and several of my 1911s. And like I say, the 1911 and 10 millimeter I'm carrying next week's a Springfield 2RP.
Yeah.
I trust that gun. It's one of my 2 or 3 favorite guns as far as trusting it and the shootability of the firearms.
That's a 5-inch gun.
Yeah, it's 5-inch 2RP. So, take a look at it, folks. If go to Springfield's website, you can read and see the whole specs. I think they even have a video on YouTube that can be linked from their website, or just go to YouTube and type in Springfield 10 millimeter. I'm sure you'll get a million different choices there. And read up on them a little bit. Stop in at our store or your local gun shop if you're not local to here, and ask about it. Take a look at it. See if it fits your hand. If you've liked the compact XD series in the 9 millimeters and 45s and 40s, you're going to like this a lot. So, and for those that aren't familiar with the 10 millimeter, just a minute or two of backstory on that. The 10 millimeter is the grandfather to the 40 caliber. The 40 caliber was actually developed because of the 10 millimeter to become the 10 millimeter short, I guess is the best way to put it.
Right.
And that was for the FBI, I believe, for their testing purposes. They thought the 10 millimeter was going to work out great for them, just too much recoil for those that didn't shoot often. Made it very difficult for them to qualify. And a lot of complaints from the field for, again, those that didn't shoot often. Those that shot often loved it. And absolutely perfect stopping power. Stop a car if you do it right. Yeah. So, and you put enough shots out there.
Ballistically, it's a 41 Magnum.
Exactly. So, and 41 Magnum's got some heroic stories
it
out
does.
there. So very, very neat round.
Definitely not, the 10 is not what I would consider a niche cartridge anymore.
Right.
It's really become very mainstream.
Yeah.
And it kind of ebbs and flows a little bit in the industry. It gets hot, and then they don't talk about it for a year, and then it gets hot again, and it kind of depends on who comes out with what. And,
right. Right.
Yeah. But it's definitely, as far as big calibers go, it's probably the coolest big handgun cartridge out there in a semi-auto that the guys talk about nowadays.
Yep.
So.
And one reason I personally like it is because the grain weights of the bullets that are available are pretty extensive. You want to run 150 grain through it, you can run 150 grain through it. If you want to run a 230 grain through it, you can get a 230 grain out of it. So, just a fantastic birth of offerings there, depending on what you're wanting to accomplish. And I think I'm running 185s, I believe, that I'm taking with me next week. So, and that's just my preferred round for that firearm. So, anyway, take a look at it, folks. It's pretty neat offering. And if you don't have a 10 millimeter, something to kind of consider to add to your collection. Just something very, very cool and neat to have in the offering. And there again, it'll stop anything on the planet.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys that have set a lot of world records. Razor Dobbs is one of them that I love watching his show. It's called Alive. And he didn't pay us for this endorsement there, but he goes around the world hunting with 10 millimeter. He used a Dan Wesson 1911, and he's taken down Cape Buffalo, hippopotamus, alligators, deer of every sort, all that type of stuff with it. Bear, of course. And he's a big fan of 10 millimeter. It's the only thing he hunts with. So take a look at that. Now, on the 10 millimeter side, it's kind of funny that Springfield brings out a 10 millimeter that's impressive. And then we hear lately that Smith & Wesson's getting ready to launch their new 10 millimeter. And that one's got me excited also, and I can't wait to put it in my hands. It's going to be in their M&P series, so which has been around for quite a while. Very trusted platform. Comes in a huge amount of offerings in the M&P style. Not only colors, shapes, calibers, and magazine options, optic options, trigger options, performance center. But now they're now they're going to be offering it in the 10 millimeter.
Right.
And going to be 15 round capacity, comes standard with the gun, which is going to be pretty neat. So it is a full size, service size model. I believe it's a 4 1/4 inch barrel on that, or 4-inch barrel. I'm not
They're
sure.
doing 2 barrel length offerings.
Are they? Okay.
Like a 4.8. They're doing like a 4 1/4 and
4 1/4 and 4.8.
4.8. Yeah.
Yep.
Which is cool for Indiana in particular, because those are both legal handgun barrel lengths for whitetail.
Yeah, and if you had to offer, or if you had to say a negative about the Springfield side of things, is at 3.8, it is not legal for deer in Indiana. For those that are wanting to handgun hunt, or just to have it as an option. So, but
I might have to try one of the Smiths. Maybe I could actually hit something. But, I don't know.
Well, it's a handgun, so yeah, you probably can. So, anyway. Now I'm excited to see that. We've got them on order right now. They have not released any orders our direction. I don't know if any of the other shops are getting them quite yet. I know as of about a week ago, nobody had received them other than the test platform guns that were shipped out early. But early reviews on that Smith & Wesson have been really, really well received. And as soon as we get them in here, I think we're going to turn one of them into a used gun right away.
Yeah.
And really wanting to test it out and see. So,
yeah, I'm kind of excited about that too, because the M&P series, they're pretty ergonomically pleasing.
Yeah.
The cuts and just the ergonomics of those guns generally feel really, really good. So I'm anxious to see what that feels like in 10 millimeter. So.
Sure. Yeah. So look for more information on that. And when we start getting them in, we, even if it's not a trigger time episode, if it's unloaded or something like that, we'll talk about it, let everybody know that we've got it in. And then we'll save all the technical data and stuff for one of the upcoming trigger time episodes. Sure. So, okay. So what do you got going from 10 millimeter? What are we going to?
Going to the opposite end of the spectrum. Kind of one of my, definitely not a new to the market gun. It's been out for a while. It's the Ruger LCP II and 22 long rifle.
Okay.
One of my recent purchases. This is not my personal gun. This is a stock firearm, but they took their LCP platform, chambered it in 22 long rifle, made a couple of changes. There is a manual safety on the same save action style trigger. I'm not going to call it. They're very LCP-esque sights, as in not that great. Right. 10 round magazine, guys. If you look at this, you got a 10 round gun and a very small. Very, very small package. They also they extended the ears on the back of the slide, make the cocking easier, make the racking of the slide easier to get in battery. Front serrations, rear serrations, but then they made the slide very, 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 very easy. This is when I get the rare occasion to work the counter out here. And again, I'm not here to debate caliber choices.
Sure.
But when we get ladies in particular that aren't super familiar with firearms, they're looking for something to either get started / possibly use for self-defense. This is one of the guns I show them because of the usability. And I will still contend, 10 rounds of quality. There's several companies that offer a 22 self-defense round.
Yep.
And there's the good old-fashioned CCI Stingers that have been out forever.
Stingers.
10 rounds of Stingers to your center of mass, you're not going to have a very good day.
Yeah.
So, and I tell people, I kind of preface that by saying, if you learn to shoot this gun well, you will probably be better armed than a large percentage of the people that don't spend any time with their firearms.
Absolutely.
So, what this gun allows you to do, allows you to get on the range, have more trigger time. Play on words there. You like that?
I like
have
that.
more trigger time, more practice, become more efficient with the gun. Yep. And then, and again, just a great starter piece. And then, for the guys too, you're looking for a tackle box gun, glove box gun,
Yep.
Throw it in the pocket. They only come with one round with one mag, but they also come with a nice sticky sided pocket holster.
Yep.
Right from the factory. And I can tell you that my personal LCP 22, which I actually carry a lot just because it's so easy,
Yep.
Is one heck of a shooter.
Yep.
Brian, our shop manager, him and I took it on the back range immediately when I bought it. And we were blown. We were just, this is not a 25-yard gun. And we were blown away by the groups that we were getting at 25 yards with this gun. It was one of the better shooting 22, and it's digested every brand of 22 long rifle that I've put through it so far, which is a huge plus for 22 handguns in particular.
And one of the points about it being 22, and like you mentioned, they're out on the range, folks, keep this in mind. And this is coming from our years of experience. And this will make hopefully a lot of sense to you. Whether you carry that gun in 22 or whether you carry it in 380 or a version in a 9mm, if you have the 22, you do get that additional trigger time out there at a cheaper cost. But the other thing that you don't get is you don't get the fatigue off the larger calibers. So you can stand out there and get more mechanics done with the firearm, more trigger control, more sight control, magazine changes. All that is going to operate very similar to what you're doing with the larger caliber guns, but you're doing it cheaper and you're not fatiguing yourself or a new shooter. Many times I've seen shooters go out here and they go with, a larger caliber gun. They step out on the range, they shoot 20 rounds, 30 rounds, especially new shooters, and their hands are fatigued. Yeah. They start getting the shakes a little bit. They're worn out mentally and physically. They're worn out just from the concussion of the gun going off. Where if we place them in a 22, like we do with a lot of our beginner classes that we have, if we place them with a 22, the recoil's not there, the weight of the gun's not there, the bang is not there to the level of the muzzle flash and such. So for new shooters, it takes a lot of the fear out of it. This is the reason that we really encourage parents that come in here. And I know last week we sold, because it's getting close to Christmas, we sold a tremendous amount of the Cricket rifles in the 22, but people were coming in and, well, maybe a shotgun, maybe this, new shooter, new child, new young person getting involved in shooting. Let's go 22. It's just going to be an all around better experience for them.
And there's a lot of adult shooters that would have probably done themselves a service to start with a 22 caliber.
Absolutely.
Handgun, especially.
Absolutely.
And work their way up. I mean, 22 is great because it allows you to work on the very basic mechanics of learning how to shoot a handgun well, trigger control, all the side alignment, without developing, it's hard to start right out of the gate especially if you're not an experienced shooter with a gun that recoils a lot. So.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So no, it's a fantastic offering, and any 22 that, you can get your hands on just to get the trigger time, and just there again, your pun, just to get the time to fire the gun over and over again and practice your mechanics and not be worrying about the recoil or the cost of it. So,
and you have some professional experience with the effectiveness.
Absolutely.
Of a 22 caliber.
Absolutely.
Round. So,
do I have time to give that story?
Sure, why not? Yeah, well, hey, it's hard times.
Okay. Years ago, while I was full-time law enforcement, I've been retired for a while now, but when I was full-time law enforcement, one night there was a vehicle pulled over along the highway, snowing to beat all, and I thought maybe, vehicle trouble. Turned around, went up to the vehicle to see, if they were broke down or what the situation was. There was 2 male subjects in the car. The driver was acting really, really strange. And this was 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. And there had been a broadcast earlier, about probably 45 minutes before that, from the neighboring county. Their dispatch had put out a broadcast of an attempted burglary. No suspects, no description, just an attempted burglary. The homeowner had fired a shot. And that was all the information they had at the time. And anyway, had disregarded that. And in this case, was up talking to the driver. He was acting very funny. His passenger was laying back in the seat. The seat was laid clear back. He had a big fluffy jacket on. He's laying there and he's moaning and carrying on. And I asked the driver, I said, what's going on? And he said, oh, we had a jack. We had the car jacked up at my buddy's house, and then it fell and it pinned his shoulder, and I'm trying to get him to the hospital, and I'm kind of disoriented where the hospital's at from here, and it just wasn't making sense. State trooper had pulled up to back me up on the call. He was just happened to be passing by, so he stopped, and I said, hey, let's get these guys out of the car. There's something not right. And when I went around to the passenger side to check on the passenger, as I started to open his door, I realized there was a burn mark in his jacket up on the chest. There was a very large powder burn, recognized it immediately as a gunshot powder burn, close range shot. And of course, we took him into custody. We called EMS right away. EMS come out, and he was in such bad shape, they put him inside of a body bag that inflated, okay, to create pressure on the body to keep him from bleeding out, and transport him to the hospital. And the entire story came out that these two guys were driving around in the country, seen this house with no tracks, no sign of, no lights, no tracks in the driveway, anything. They assumed it was a house where people had gone to Florida for the winter, and basically it was empty. They went around to the back of the house, started prying the window open. As they started to climb in the window, the 80-some-year-old lady that was laying in bed in there, she was a widow. She reached over on the nightstand, grabbed her husband's .22 caliber revolver, stuck it up in the air, and actually pushed it against his jacket when she pulled the trigger. And that bullet bounced around inside his body and was lodged down in his abdomen. The round was actually still in his body, lodged in his abdomen. The doctor said if he would have been another 15 to 20 minutes, he would have died for sure. There's absolutely no question it would have killed him. And of course, then they were charged. There was no charges brought against the homeowner, of course, but there's the effectiveness of .22. It sure stopped the attack, if you want to look at it that way. They didn't continue to try to get in. They just had
definitely changed their mind.
Had a gun go off at 0 inches from his body. So that ended the attack, which is what we're always after. If you have to fire your gun, it's not out to kill somebody. If it results in that, it is what it is. But your goal is to stop the attack. And she stopped the attack with one shot, and it would have killed him had the whole contact not been made at that point. So .22 is very effective. And so keep that in mind. But no, great little offering. Ruger keeps exciting us with all kinds of new offerings, and I like that. So
when that gun came out, I said, well, I wasn't negative about it. I'm like, who asked for this? But I don't really care because it's kind of cool. So we instantly kind of liked it, but it was just one of those offerings. It's just like, oh, okay. Because there's other small, there's the Taurus PT-22, which is the copy of the Beretta. What is the Bobcat?
The Bobcats.
And the tip-ups and stuff like that. And these are actually, in my mind, a little bit more user-friendly than some of those offerings out there in a much flatter profile. So,
and they jumped into a little tighter of a profile because you had the SR-22, which is just a little bit bigger, a little bit wider. But there again, it's a little bit bigger and a little bit wider. So it changes it from an easy carry gun, which this is, to more of a standard carry gun. Same thing with the Walter, the Walter series and that type of thing. So great offering by them. Very impressed with it. So. All right. Time to pay a little bit of the bills. Who's our sponsor this week?
W.R. Hall.
Oh, yeah, W.R. Hall. Why don't you tell us about Mike a little bit?
Well, again, Mike's a good friend of ours, comes in here, a customer as well as we're also a client of his. And he's been providing you with insurance for a long time. 20 plus years, I think.
20 plus years.
Something like that. He comes in the shop weekly. We probably shouldn't say that. His wife might get upset.
No, it's all business.
It's all business. He's
all business.
Always in here on business. One of the nicest guys you can encounter. And provides a great service. Runs a great company, and we really appreciate his support here on the channel. And if you're in the market for insurance, W.R. Hall's got you covered.
Absolutely he does. And like, a week and a half ago or so, I had some questions on some forms that came for one of the insurances for the business, and Mike came right in and actually come back to my office and sat down and helped me fill it out online, that, some information we needed to provide for the insurance carrier because it was a little confusing. But Mike sat right there with me, and we went through the whole thing together and got it done in 10, 15 minutes, and boom, we were done. So that's the personal service we're always looking for. And it's always there. So
and all of his agents do the same, and
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's got a lot of great agents, Eric and several others there. I've dealt with Eric for years also. So, give him a call, folks. Give him a call. So, what you been seeing trend wise?
Well, it was it was kind of an interesting hunting season for us here in the shop.
Yeah.
I think we did well providing. I think we did above average considering the market. For what's available to sell.
Yeah.
Obviously we were lower in stock on some items than we wanted to be. I know we ran out of 350 Legend rifles the last couple days before opener.
Yep.
Muzzleloaders are, who would have dreamed that muzzleloaders are unobtainable right now? And it doesn't. When you think about hysteria of buying in the firearms world, that muzzleloader is not the first thing that kind of generally comes to your mind.
Right.
But
better run on muzzleloaders.
Not even the the lower end Spanish made inlines, which we love to have in stock because typically they're great shooters and get people started in the black powder or in the muzzleloader season. Yeah. And they're just they're tough to get right now. Yeah. But I saw a big uptake in what I consider, larger rifle calibers for the season. It seems like there was more people in looking at 6.5s and 308s.
Yep.
And
7mm,
270s. I've seen a lot of 270s.
Yeah.
I would say from what I've, because again, I'm constant. My door is usually open in the back here, so I'm listening on busy days and stuff, and just a lot of 6.5 talk.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, 6.5's, it's when it took off in popularity, it just hasn't burnt out at all. Mm-hmm. And now it's becoming kind of mainstream, kind of like, 308 did years ago, 243 did years ago.
Yep.
6.5 has just gained in such popularity. It's just kind of locked itself in.
Heard a lot of 243 chatter this year, too.
Yep.
A lot of guys coming in looking for 243s.
Yep.
And then also the pistol caliber stuff still did very well. 44 mags. We couldn't keep one in stock. As soon as we would put them out, they would be gone. And the guys would come in and 1 o'clock in the afternoon. They said, "Well, you had 2 this morning."
Right.
Like, "Oh yeah, we did have 2 this morning." You're correct.
Yeah. Life expectancy of 44s around here was about 3 hours.
Yep. 357 as well.
Yep.
I think probably, and definitely not bad mouthing it, but I think probably the one that's not quite flying off the shelf as fast as it used to is the 450 Bushmaster, maybe. But even those still went.
We sold out. I had an overstock in them. We sold out. But no, it was a little concerning. It took them a little bit, but then all of a sudden, boom, they went again.
Right, and then they went too.
Yep.
So, and sometimes some of those trends can be kind of accounted for coming down to the wire, and guys are looking to purchase one that day. So it again, still a great round.
Yeah.
And the 350 is definitely holding steady. 30. If we would have had.
If
we would have had, 50
Marlin
336s and 3030s, they'd be gone right now.
Absolutely. They would be gone.
But, so I'm very much looking forward to hopefully next year having a full offering of new Marlin made.
Oh, yeah, the Marlin. I can't wait till they start coming.
336s and 3030. That would be awesome.
Yep, so. Absolutely. And from the muzzleloader side, like you mentioned earlier, we got a batch last week. I didn't know if you were aware of it, but we just got a batch in last week for sale this week. But it was a small batch. It was about half of what I was hoping to get my hands on, but I found the ones that we did and got them in blued in and stainless offerings. Cool. And just got those in, but they're, they won't last long with muzzleloader starting. Right. So, and the other hard part for the muzzleloader side, and something we'll touch on here for a couple minutes since we're running about on time, is the news that Thompson Center's not making muzzleloaders anymore. That kind of a heavy hit. I understand that they've suspended manufacturing. I guess I should say it that way. They've suspended manufacturing pending trying to get it sold. And I got that from a rep this week.
That's their entire line?
That's their entire line. I knew they were discontinuing the bolt action rifle line because that's just the Venture and such. Right. They're a good rifle. They're a great rifle, but they're just up against, rifles that have been around for so long.
Such a huge market.
Yeah, such a huge market. So, and Smith & Wesson owns Thompson Center. So I wish them the best of luck with it. It's, I hate to see the Encore line and the Contender line and the Omega line, just disappear.
Right.
Boy, so I hope someone picks them up. If you've got the extra money, I'm hinting for you to go buy it. So, okay, well, never mind.
By Thompson Center?
Yeah. So then that way we can keep them going, but
might be a good time to remind you that I'm in the ammo manufacturer.
Oh yeah, okay, all right. Well, it was a nice shot.
So.
Any of our listeners that have an extra cool, probably 10, 15 million could go buy them and fire it back up.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe it might be available at a bargain price too.
It might be. Yeah.
And just like that, Encores and Contenders have skyrocketed
yes,
in
they
value
have.
overnight.
Yes,
so.
they have.
Yeah. And you've done a lot of hunting with your you have an Encore, don't you?
I have Encore and a Contender. My Contender, I used it because in Indiana, up until just 5 years ago, you could only use if you wanted to use a rifle caliber, it had to be in a pistol format. So that was the Contender. That was basically, and I think there was a few, sideline manufacturers that made some. I think Remington made a bolt action pistol for a while and that type of thing. So those were available, but pretty much everybody was Contender at that point. And I've hunted with a 35 Remington Contender and killed 40 deer plus with it. Just an excellent gun. Still have it. Actually going to pack it in my duffel bag with me for the trip next week. Nice. just as another backup gun. Don't know if I'll even carry it up in the mountains, but I may. But I'm taking it along. And then the Encore 50 caliber muzzleloader I have, that gun's one of my favorites. It's killed dozens and dozens of deer.
Right.
A couple of coyotes, just opportunistic moments with coyotes in the woods.
I kind of envision you when you go on a hunt like that, like the old Clint Eastwood Western where Lee Van Cleef is Colonel Mortimer, and he unrolls his saddle scabbard. There's like seven choices. You're got to be a guide's favorite guy.
Well,
he's like, oh, that guy, the 8-gun guy.
I'm taking 10 millimeter.
Yeah.
I'm taking.
It's like a golf club toy. You're like, let's see here.
That'll be a 6-iron. We'll take that. No, get the putter.
So I mean, it just kind of depends on your mood. I actually kind of dig that. That's pretty cool. Well, because you're a true gun guy. I mean, that's everybody's like, be wary of the guy with one gun. Forget about that. Be wary of the guy with 40 guns and knows how to use them. I mean,
right.
And we kind of pride ourselves on trying to be as versatile as we can with a variety of guns.
Absolutely.
I'm apparently not the greatest with the bolt action scoped gun, but
look at one of our last episodes, 2 episodes ago, for more information on that.
I've proven that that's not my particular forte, but
oh my God!
But no, you and I do a lot of talking, and we liked, when we sighted in. Yeah. I think we used a variety of rifles. On our sighting day, and it was awesome.
Yeah, we had muzzleloader, lever action, bolt action,
we open sights, and we were killing it. And it was fun. Yep. It was it's kind of cool to grab, to have some proficiency, a level of proficiency with everything that you've got in your available to you. I think,
it's great. I'm going on this hunt. Don't know what the guide. Once we get there, I know the guide. We've used him before, but when we get there, I don't know what he's going to say. Whether he's going to say, "Hey, we're going up into the hard mountains. We're going to do a lot of walking," or we're going to snowmobile up and very little walking. This and that. It's going to kind of dictate what we take in, and what he's saying the range of shots may be, and that type of thing. So I'm taking 45-70 in lever action. Yep. I'm taking 350 Legend in a single shot. I'm taking this Contender in 35 Remington, and then I'll have the 10 millimeter pistol. So, just different offerings. Obviously, not going to pack all of them up the mountain, but once we're there and we talk to him, we'll decide what's going to go up the mountain, and that's what we'll take. So.
Yeah, well, that's the guide's job.
Yeah.
Is to pack your firearms.
Well, no, he's not that expensive of a guy.
I'm joking.
Well, Dirk, you hear that? You're supposed to carry my guns up the mountain. I appreciate
that's
it.
Dusty's job.
Yeah.
Dusty, if you're listening.
You get to pack the guns.
He's not going to like that.
No, he's not going to like that. Plus, we get to take your truck. So, his truck this time. Yeah. So that'll be great.
You do have to drive west and afford.
Oh,
so I
God.
wish you luck.
God. I got Uber's app on my phone.
Yeah,
So it'd be
you might
quite
need it.
expensive. Yeah.
You might need it.
How much for 1,400 miles back? So, but all right, great. So, producer's holding up. He's wanting a White Claw, apparently.
White Claw, are
So-
we doing that?
Yeah,
is that
do it,
that's in every episode?
Yeah, that's every
operation?
episode. That is.
Well, I don't know if you saw that there's also a new beverage on the market.
Oh, there
ranch
is.
water.
Who was talking? Oh,
Yeah, I think
our friend
actually our friend Razorback.
Razorback started the
ranch
water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, I think it's him deflecting. I think he's trying to deflect a little heat off of himself.
Yeah.
I think the White Claw might, because I talked to Red last week, and he went to some family holiday get together, and some guy that doesn't know any of us but caught wind of it online brought him White Claw.
Nice.
Which is awesome. So he's even getting it from extended family members.
Nice.
Which is funny. And I don't know if our last victim bought Santa Fe River Stand. I don't know if he got somebody White Claw or not. I don't know if anybody's.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'll have to maybe ask him.
Yeah, we'll have to check in with him.
Throw him a text and see if he did that. So.
Yeah. So who are we going to throw under the bus? I got an idea.
Okay. Well, we didn't really talk about that.
Yeah. Let's. I think during the whole ranch water conversation that was happening on Facebook the other day, one of the guys that made some pointed comments and made a lot of jokes about it, so he must be interested in it, is our friend Chili Pepper Pete.
Yeah.
I think let's put Chili on the hot wire here, and anybody that gets a hold of Chili Pepper Pete, he's going to have to provide him a 6-pack of White Claw.
Yeah.
Or ranch water.
Ranch water.
Yeah, since White Claw's not paying us, their check has not come for
We'll
their,
do either or.
Yeah, there you go. Because I know he's probably got both in his fridge. There it is.
See, this is going to actually be a challenge because he can be hard to get a hold of at times.
Yeah.
This would be an awesome time to flash his cell phone number across the screen. Actually, he would love that.
Maybe starting next week, we'll have a board up here with a cell phone.
With a
Call
contact,
that number.
home address, email, Instagram.
Oh yeah, I like that.
The whole deal.
That. Our producer's saying that's no problem. He can put that on the screen. That's easy.
Absolutely. Well, and I do notice that Phil has been adding in some, like when we did the Santa Fe River Stand, he flashed a picture of Santa Fe River Stand across the screen. So we had some high tech production going on here,
and
guys.
Chili films well, so
we don't mess around here.
Yeah, no playing around, man. We're Big Dollar now.
Yep, Big Dollar.
That's Phil's new nickname, Big Dollar. I like that.
Big Dollar.
Yeah,
I like that. That'd be a good alias for him.
Yeah. Oh man, maybe I shouldn't have gone that route.
No, and I see that they're making a fiery ranch water.
What?
Yeah, it's like spicy ranch water, I think, which would be appropriate if Chili wanted to.
New Mexico chilies in it, or what?
I don't get excited.
No. My bad. I went there, didn't I? Good Lord. So, all right, spicy ranch water. All right, somebody's gonna have to try it and tell me how it is because I exclusively drink Crown. So
that's all you drink. Yeah,
that's all
you're
I drink.
Very much a snob.
Yep.
And
wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. I agreed to that too soon.
Oh, you are?
Really?
So,
wow.
well, I mean, whereas you're very particular, I'm kind of a trash can when it comes to I will literally drink anything. So,
the other night when we had some company, they asked if I wanted a Crown. I said, yeah. And they started to grab one of the bottles in there. I said, no, leave that one there. That's the decoy bottle for Deuce when he's here. I'll take this stuff.
Yeah, I don't even know if that's really Crown in there. That could be,
that's
that could be any,
finest.
That could be old granddad. It's all the same to me.
Don't mind the funnel sitting there next to that and the empty bottle of old granddad.
Because I seldom finish with what I start with. Anybody that's been with me in a social setting knows that. So
very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, I'm kind of turning into the Dean Martin
I like it.
of our world.
I like it.
It's all an act.
Yeah, there you go.
It's all an act.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so get a hold of Chili Pepper Pete. The first person that gets a hold of Chili Pepper Pete when this comes out, he's going to mail you a 6-pack of your choice.
He's all over Facebook.
He's all over Facebook. Look him up, and you can look him up by Chili Pepper Pete.
He's
also.
about 5'2".
Yep. Dress is really nice.
Speaks in a Portuguese accent half the time.
Yep.
Actually, when I first met him, I thought he was Portuguese.
Yep.
Turns out he's just.
They interviewed him on Shooting USA recently, too.
They did. He's famous.
He is.
Yeah.
He is. Quite photogenic. I think they interviewed him twice on there, actually.
Yeah. And he, if you don't know him, stop by and say hi to him. If you ever see him, and he's quite a character.
Fantastic fun.
And he fits easily in the most overhead storage compartment.
Fantastic. Chili's going to love this episode.
He is going to love this. I don't know if he should be a listener.
He should be a long-time listener.
Yeah, I talk to him almost every day. But
well, let's be making sure he's a listener.
Very busy.
Yeah, he's on the road a lot.
He's on the
truck.
road. Yeah.
Let's get it straight. So.
Yeah.
All right, man. We're running right exactly on the end time now. So any closing statements or anything?
Again, guys, we'd love to hear some feedback.
Yeah.
The only feedback that I receive is, again, not tooting our own horns, but is compliments.
Yep.
So if you have some ideas for content, say, hey, why don't you guys talk about this? This is a rare thing. We're asking for direction.
Sure.
Which is not in either one of our. That's not in either one of our makeups. We don't generally listen to.
Yeah.
To anything.
I wouldn't say listen. Wow. Okay. Let's edit that. No. Please give us some feedback on things you want to hear from us about, even accessories or non-firearm items. We're not going to talk about cooking items, but, knives or optics or anything like that you want us to talk about or any type of hunting gear.
Yeah, we could be the knife guys.
There used to be a show of that. Yeah.
Okay. We could slice watermelons and stuff.
Yeah, I don't think W.R. Hall's going to be impressed with us using knives on film. So, anyway. Okay. So, all right, folks. Well, we're going to wrap this up because we're right on time. Yeah. I thank everybody for watching again. And as we always tell you, keep your powder dry. We'll see you next week. Thanks a lot.